Hey everybody, it's Leslie Rohde with, now it's live. Hey everybody, it's Leslie Rohde with Marcus Brain Trust. A little bit of alignment problem there in the clocks. So, hey, it's fantastic. We actually got a hangout to work. Oh my heavens, who knew, right? Fourth time. Fourth is a charm. Bear in mind, these worked for like several months, and then on March 11th they stopped working. Thank you, Donna Fox, for surfacing the issue. And then we kept wailing away at it one time and another, and we all deeply apologize for the time whole bunches of you, like 100 plus, wasted trying to get on Hangout with us, and was not our intention. Deeply sorry. You wasted your time. We wasted some of ours as well, but hey, now it's fixed. So we have Corey Burke from the Marcus Brain Trust, and we have Dan Thies, founding partner in the Marcus Brain Trust. And today we're going to try now, I think this is the fourth time, we try to deliver exactly the same presentation. Is that right, Dan?
Well, no, I've changed it several times because, obviously I didn't want to deliver the same presentation to nobody 4 times in a row. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You always do better if you. Yeah.
Of course, to nobody, we should deliver a different one every time. Yes.
Exactly right. And so Dan's got a prepared presentation about the upcoming changes regarding Google and mobile that are going to happen on the 21st. And we thought we were like way ahead of this 3 weeks ago, but now it's like impending doom. And so for all of those you still logging in, and there's like now, yes, a whole bunch of you. So that's the subject of today. Now, Dan, do we want to lead off with any news stories? I have not had a chance to look at that.
There's one that I think is worth mentioning for any AdWords advertisers out there. There was a little bit of a bug with Google's quality score display in AdWords, and so we had some people. We generally speaking, if we see a quality score drop, we'll try to address it, but we don't go pause campaigns because it doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be any change in the performance of the campaigns. But a lot of folks had actually paused campaigns. That bug, that glitch has been fixed, but if you don't unpause your campaigns, your scores won't update and refresh. And so if you said, holy cow, our quality scores dropped within the last few weeks, and go ahead and unpause those campaigns, and they should be showing the right scores within a couple of hours. So there's that. The other bug of Google's that's recently been fixed is the one that we're talking about here. So let's get to it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so go for it. I mean, we've got several. Let's say, you know what? Why don't we make sure that we've caught up on? Let's see. Once you made your site mobile friendly, go mobile friendly. All right, so the site. So there are a couple of questions we'll get to. Terry says no problem. You guys are great. Thanks, Terry. Yes, we're great, but it's not no problem. But anyway,
it's a problem when you waste a bunch of people's time, and we blame Google, but we're the ones that invited you, so.
Yeah. Paul Wright says, thanks for the apology, but that's life. And your other efforts easily make up for it. You guys are awesome. Thanks again, Paul. That was fantastic. Have you just started, or are you an hour into it? No, Bobby. So it's 3 p.m. Eastern time, and as Dan likes to say, it's that whole round world problem. And we get this wrong too, particularly with our Australian private clients, as we're calling it weird times of the day. So no, we're just starting. So here we go.
And I'm just saying, if we can put people on the moon, why can't we flatten the planet out so that we have one time zone?
I thought it was flat. It's not flat?
And pave all the, furry bits over so that we can drive faster. Anyway, okay.
All right, Dan.
Moving on.
And Corey, your question, I haven't flown around it, so I don't know. So, all right. So, Dan, you're up. Why don't you go ahead and, let's see. Wait a minute. We have to, make you presenter. Present to everyone. Okay.
Okay, you're going to make me presenter, and then I got to do the screen share thing here. I had to screen share.
Yep.
Desktop 2, start screen share. And then I go over here on the other desktop. Now you can't see me. I'm looking over to the other screen, though.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
And play from start.
There we go.
Now,
go for it.
You should see my presentation. So this is, obviously a little bit of a red alert. I mean, and it's going to affect anybody that owns or operates a website. Every marketer, every SEO consultant, every business owner. This is something that's going to have reach like Panda and Penguin never did in terms of the number of websites that are going to get hit by this and won't be expecting it. Now, obviously, if you're here, you already are a little bit ahead of the curve. But I wanted to make sure we had kind of a platform to let you know how you can make sure you're ready, and also to if there's any last minute stuff you need to do to get prepared and to deal with it, that you've got a little bit of time to work on that. So, you know what? I hate computers.
What is in the
I hate
middle
computers.
of the screen? Yeah, I do too. And it's why can't we make money without computers? That's what I think.
Okay, great. So that isn't there, right? And then it's going to be there. Watch. Let's try it again.
Yeah, that was the click here to add text, right?
Okay, there. Now it's working. Okay, fantastic. So, it's kind of interesting. And so Google announced within about a week of each other this April 21st mobile-friendly update, and we'll talk about that more in just a second. They also announced about a week later this thing called the Doorway Page Update. What's interesting is that one of them they gave us a date for. One of them they actually wanted webmasters to be able to do something about, and the other one, if you're going to be affected by it, they'd really rather, just step on you, because that's really about spammers, and I don't want to name any names, but the people that are out there building massive numbers of automatically generated doorway pages may or may not have a problem when that rolls out. We'll see how good Google is at actually catching people. I'm not confident because they should have been able to do it by now. With the mobile-friendly update, it's gonna be the biggest update in terms of the impact on traffic to websites that Google's ever done. It's going to be bigger than Florida. It's going to be bigger than Panda. It's going to be bigger than Penguin. If you aren't ready for it, it's going to hurt. You might not think mobile's that big of a deal, but one, I would question, if you don't think mobile's a big deal, whether you've actually looked at your analytics very closely and whether you've actually looked recently. And of course, there are lots of problems with measuring what actually happens on mobile. So, for example, it might not seem that mobile matters because most of your transactions that are completed for a retailer are being completed on a desktop, but that doesn't really tell you how many times different people looked at that thing on a mobile device before you bought it, and where we do have cases, the limited number of cases we have where somebody has actually implemented a better mobile experience on their site, we see a bump in conversion. That bump in conversion doesn't necessarily show up entirely on mobile either, and that's because people are using multiple screens and multiple devices now. But even if your website looks great on a phone, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're ready for this update, because Google's advice that they were giving and kind of your common sense that, well, gosh, it's responsive, it looks great, it could actually fail. So what we want to do is make sure everybody understands how to know if you're ready or not.
And Dan, isn't it true? Yeah. I mean, I don't know where I saw the statistic. It's something like 60% of all Google search is now from mobile. Is that true? Is that what you heard too?
I don't know what percentage of Google is mobile, but it's
big.
It's a big chunk of their ad revenue, and it's a big chunk of search. I mean, I do more searches on mobile devices than I do on the desktop, because it's just so convenient to be able to just search for something. A lot of those are navigational queries and stuff like that, and weird non-commercial stuff. Like somebody on television mentions some Inca ruin, and I want to see more about it, so I grab my phone and start ignoring the television. That's perfectly normal and sane, and not something that a crazy person would do at all. And so there's a lot of search on mobile. The thing is, you can't just check your phone. Obviously, if it doesn't look good on a phone, you've got a problem no matter what Google says, okay? But this isn't the how it looks on a phone algorithm. It's the Googlebot. And Googlebot's rendering engine, which means that you knew the day was coming, Leslie, right? That we're using the Mozilla bot for this now. So they're doing JavaScript, they're doing CSS, they're doing the DOM, they're doing all that fancy technical stuff to figure out where stuff is, in particular to figure out how stuff is going to respond to different screen sizes now. So a lot of the stuff that will actually make it work and look okay on a phone also isn't best practices. So, for example, redirecting people to an MDOT is something that
bad
you'd
idea.
really rather not be doing anymore. You'd rather that it was all served up under the same thing and all that. So, but from what I've seen, and obviously we've got dozens of clients and hundreds more people that we work with in different capacities, friends, you name it, right? And so I've looked at a lot of sites, and the worst offenders so far, in terms of what Google identifies, are fixed type sizes or little tiny types. So we'll show you an example of one in a second here. And the not adjusted to the viewport. So if I'm looking at it on an iPad, or if it's the same site no matter how big the screen is, and that's just not mobile device friendly. And it ain't 2007 when everybody was laughing at that stupid mistake Apple made with that iPhone thing, and nobody would ever buy a $600 phone. Now it's the future, and these things can be a problem. But the biggest gotcha that's been getting people is robots tech. So they've got everything done right, except they've got a problem in robots text, or they've got a problem, and they may not even know that stuff is in there if they're using things like WordPress. So Webmaster Tools gives you a warning, and they finally just fixed this link a couple of days ago. So thank God this slide isn't quite as relevant. But what they were doing was when you got a warning and you check the link. So if you've checked over the last few weeks, you go to PageSpeed Insights, and PageSpeed Insights will look at it and go, "Woohoo, everything is okay." But that doesn't mean that everything's okay. So actually, our pal Alan wrote up a detailed blog post. I was sitting on Facebook, and we were joking with one of the people from Google, and unbelievably, Alan actually got him to engage and put some attention to it, and so we knew it was coming that they would fix this redirect. But where Webmaster Tools should have been taking you, and we believe now if you actually go through Webmaster Tools today, will take you to the mobile-friendly test on Google developers. In fact, I don't know, it's kind of funny because it actually shows up with the URL looking like it's on Webmaster Tools. So clearly they've redirected something in some bizarre way, and so they've got weird stuff going on. But this is the correct mobile-friendly test, because this is the one that will actually observe whether you have resources that are being blocked in robots text that matter. And so the typical example is if you use JavaScript jQuery libraries to help you resize and do all that kind of stuff. That's perfectly cool. That makes you mobile-friendly. But if the Googlebot can't actually fetch those because the directory that they're in is blocked, which a lot of WordPress installations have those in WP Includes, and also have WP Includes blocked in robots text, that keeps you from going. So here we can see that our friends at Moz have, they'll either have some work to do before April 21st or they won't. I have a pretty good feeling that they'll still fail this test after April 21st, because it's pretty darn obvious that they just don't give a damn about mobile, because they've had these problems forever. I mean, their site is basically, you can tell that it's there, and you can squint real hard and kind of see that there's a website there, but you really can't use it on a mobile device. And so, if you hit them on your phone, I think you'd agree that it's a really, really terrible experience on mobile. And again, I think that they just don't care. I think that they don't see that mobile is all that important to them. They may be wrong about that. I don't have access to their analytics, so I can't make the case to them. But certainly in terms of the eye test and what the mobile friendly test says, they agree that Moz is not mobile friendly, and the biggest thing that they have here is fixed type size too small and viewport. So they've basically done all of the wrong stuff. And one of the things that Google will show you here is how the Googlebot sees the page. So if there are resources that are blocked by robots text, you can actually check. There's a link to see what they are. And then if you don't pass the mobile friendly test, you can actually follow through and get some help on how to get it mobile friendly. And it's very good. It's very thorough. They're not going to do the work for you, but they'll tell you what work needs to be done to fix it. So do use this tool, but also do check your phone. So Leslie, I'm actually not quite sure if we've gotten any more work done on this, but here at Marbray, we're not exactly proud of our mobile experience, but we're not going to have any additional problems on April 21st. And we also have some resources that are blocked by robots text, but there aren't any resources that are actually critical to it being mobile friendly. It's just stuff that no, Google, you can't have it. And so, here we have an example of a site that's not terrible. It really is not terribly good on mobile, and Google says so. And here we have a site that's really, for somebody that's sitting here talking about mobile, Leslie, a little bit embarrassing. And obviously, whatever.
Actually, the newest post looks better, by the way. But,
yeah, I know that we were actually, doing some work on this, because I know that some work was done to actually make it past the mobile-friendly test at some point, some time ago. But so don't just. But the point here is, don't just think if you pass the mobile-friendly test, and you can use our shortener there. It's seobt.co/mobile-friendly to get to the test. Also, do actually look at the phone and actually do think about what the experience is like. That might not be relevant to April 21st. But it's going to matter. And I want to tell you people now, because sometimes I tell you people what the future is going to look like, and you don't listen to me. Okay? And I don't want to.
I'm aware of.
And so every year I'm up on a stage giving a presentation saying, I freaking told you so. And so here I am freaking telling you right now that 11 bajillion% of everything is happening on mobile devices right now. That's a lot, okay? So that's point one. Absolute fact. Mobile is big. It is not a fad. It is not going away. And the fact is, right now you're not doing a bunch of transactions on people's mobile phones. It's true for most retailers. Even if you're mobile friendly, it might not be the greatest thing. Michelle's got a couple folks she's working with Facebook ads, where actually most of the retail transactions that we're able to get out of Facebook are on mobile devices, but that's a market where, in a product and markets and products where we felt like that was likely to be the case. But here's the thing: Apple announced their Apple Pay thing last fall. It's not on every phone they ship yet, but every new phone that they ship has the Apple Pay capability. And the way it works is you set up your cards and your accounts and stuff like that in Apple Pay once, and then when you want to pay for something, you can wave your phone over it and stick your thumb on it. But you can also do this with online transactions. So you can log in with Apple Pay, and you can literally sign for something using your phone. My bank has been pushing me to get Apple Pay, right?
They're all partnered. Chase is.
Yeah, because Apple solved one of the big problems with these mobile wallet things, which is they went direct to the people that control the transactions to cut out a lot of those middleman expenses from the thing. And so, as if you're a retailer, you're actually going to not be sad about what it costs to use Apple Pay on your website. The thing is, 2-3 years down the road, I bet you half the online transactions are completed with somebody sticking a thumb on a phone.
Well, I mean, if you even look right now,
and even if it ain't half, it's going to be a heck of a lot, and it's going to be a heck of a lot this year in the holiday season. I guarantee it.
Well, just think about that. I mean, the corollary, I think, is for those of you who travel. How many of you actually print the boarding pass, or how many of you actually get it sent to your phone, and then stick the phone on top of the scanner at the checkpoint in the airport, right? We're going to get the same kind of thing. It's kind of like the cards used with RFID wave across the scanner. It's the same kind of thing with phones is coming, and 3 years, yeah, maybe sooner, maybe later, but there's no doubt keying in a 16-digit credit card number plus expiry, plus
and the thing off the back of the card, and hell, I'm driving, man. I mean,
there's no way. I mean,
can't you make it safer for me to buy stuff while I'm driving?
Right, but with a payment system that is mobile friendly, changes everything. And right now, there's no way that this is not the wave of the future. Everybody wants to buy on mobile. It's just too damn hard.
Well, and for PayPal users, it's very easy. It's a password. You're done. Gina, my wife, buys stuff with her phone all the time, but it's either Amazon or a retailer she uses that she already knows as they use PayPal, and that's why she uses them, because they use PayPal, and she doesn't have to punch in a card. And the more times a Target or a gosh, how many of them have there been this year? I mean, these morons don't learn, right? The more times these retailers get hacked and millions of card numbers get out, the more people are going to say, you know what? I would rather not ever let the waiter or the cashier or anybody have my card data ever. I'd rather that it was that somebody had to steal my phone and my thumb to be able to do credit card fraud on me, and that's what it's going to get to. You're going to get to a place where there's not a plastic card in the first place, where it's just right. You can get a card that doesn't have a card, and it's just immediately linked to your Apple Pay, and you're done.
Yeah.
We're not there yet, but
It's close.
the fact is the insecurity of the credit card has been badly exposed, and it's going to go away. So it's only a matter of time, and when it fully manifests itself, you're going to see transactions are going to happen on mobile. But look, I mean, even if you don't believe that that's going to happen, if you're building funnels, if you're using universal traffic engine like we teach, or doing Facebook advertising, AdWords, whatever, you might have mobile off. But the fact is, the easiest funnel to build, the easiest conversion problem to fix is actually building a mobile funnel. If you do lead generation and you're not on mobile, it's because you just haven't bothered to build out mobile funnels. But retailers too can do well with mobile funnels. I mean, Michelle's been having great success with people with Facebook advertising, and they were all people that said, well, we don't really want to do mobile. Okay, well, when you actually build a funnel that gets to where people can design the experience so that it's intended to happen entirely on the phone, it works really well. Amazon's experience on the phone isn't as good as their desktop experience, but it's very good. They're kind of leaning a little bit on the advantage of having the one-click checkout. Again, it's like PayPal. It's if you have the app, it's just a click, and if you don't have the app, even on the website, it's just a password, just like with PayPal. So the thing with this update that you got to understand is your site is either going to be mobile friendly or it's not, they say that the ranking difference is going to be on a page by page basis, but that doesn't mean that just because that page is mobile friendly, if the rest of the site isn't. If you don't have a problem on this one, you're going to have a problem on the next one, because what they really want is for people to not have a jarring experience going to from a search result to a website on a mobile device. That means no redirects. That means no busted redirects that take you to something that's not even the same thing you were looking at. And it means that the whole experience, the site is actually usable, that it's not just some mobile stub, like when you were building a website that was supposed to look good on a 4-line by 16 characters screen, 15 years ago. So
and almost all the changes we're talking about are going to be overall. They're going to be site wide. That's the thing. Site is.
The page isn't mobile friendly if it links to pages that aren't mobile friendly. So I mean, really, if you've got any pages on your site that aren't mobile friendly, you need to start getting on that. But again, like I said, most folks have already gotten the memo on mobile 2-3 years ago, when it was pretty obvious where things were headed, and so most of us don't have an actual problem with mobile experience. If you do, it might be time, if you're a retailer and you can't get your cart mobile friendly, to think about switching to something like Shopify or something like that, and moving to a cart that somebody else gets paid to keep mobile friendly. If you're not doing millions a month in revenues, sometimes it's better not to do your own cart development. And as the world gets more complicated, that's kind of sometimes you gotta let somebody else help, right?
No.
Because marketing has gotten complicated, right?
Well, I mean, more so than when we started, right?
So, exactly. There's so much more going on, and so before we get to Q&A, I just want to mention, maybe we can help. So if you'd like to talk about any of this stuff and you don't already have some means by which you are talking to us, if you do, if you've got us on Skype, if you've got us in, gosh, we got so many different ways that we talk to people, and of course we'll do questions about mobile here and whatever else anybody wants to get into today. Just email support@marketersbraintrust.com. Let them know who you are, let them know what you do, let them know how you think we can help, and we'll get you in touch with the right people. What we typically do is, so if you're going to end up talking to me, or you're going to end up talking to Leslie or Corey or all three of us or Michelle or whoever, the first thing we're going to do is have somebody get some data from you. So things like access to analytics and things like that. So don't be insulted that you're not hearing from me personally to get your AdWords account number hooked up into our client center to look at your AdWords account, or getting logged into your business manager so that we can look at your Facebook ads, or getting into analytics and stuff like that. It's just that it doesn't make sense for us to go in and look until we've got all that stuff together. So we'll have folks that'll help you do that. And by the way, those folks actually know quite a bit about marketing, and so the questions that they ask you will certainly be relevant to us giving you good answers. We do offer, I wouldn't say that we're a full service agency because there are things that we don't do, but paid search, Facebook advertising and remarketing, content marketing, SEO. Leslie does take on a limited number of private consulting clients to work on strategy and direction. We do job out for research projects sometimes, so if you're just trying to figure out what's the right way to measure or keep score between your different marketing channels so you can figure out how to allocate budget. And of course, we do an increasing amount of conversion improvement, conversion rate optimization, and testing work with people. So that's my entire sales pitch. If anything comes up about the Hangout, and you want to get some help about that specifically, you can send me an email, dan+hangout@marketersbraintrust.com, or you can find me on Skype at dan.thies, and that beautiful Lego Dan is actually my Skype profile picture, because I've found that this is actually the most recognizable image of me that exists, which is sad and weird. So
yeah,
that's my formal presentation.
It's because of the hand. I think that's what does it. It's the weird hand. Yeah.
Well, you got the teeth right anyway.
Yeah, the whole chipmunk thing going on there. Yeah. Okay. So
the hair's much cooler now, but
well, yeah, there's that. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah. All right. So let's. I'm going to scroll all the way back to the beginning here on that. That was great. I mean, there's right now the internets are all the rage about this update, and so definitely if you're not on top of this, you really ought to be. And so, and I would top line this. It's like everybody needs to be on mobile. Everybody needs to be mobile responsive. It's the very first line item in all of the web design, blog updates, all those things that we do. As Dan was talking, I was checking some of the work that we have that our staff has done. Just to check that, yep, okay, that one's good, yep, okay, that one's done, oh, well, that one's not so good, right? Just to make sure that we're doing what we teach. There have been some really good questions here, so let me see if I can page back through these and get them in more or less order.
So Leslie, you might want to make me not the presenter because I have to.
Oh yeah. So hang on a second. Yeah, that there's always that thing.
I have to sneeze.
Stop presenting. And you know what I find is I always have to push the button twice.
Yes, you have to stop me from presenting. I'm not allowed to stop me from presenting because only by the grace of your powers am I the presenter.
Well, and I'm okay with that amount of power. I would like the system to accept my power from the first click rather than the second click. That's an attribution problem, isn't it? Interesting. Okay. All right. So. Well, so here's interesting. So Jerry, with the G, asks, I have an old site made on Dreamweaver. Well, first of all, we're sorry.
That's unfortunate.
Yes. That gets excellent rankings for my important keywords. I don't want to mess it up, but I need to be mobile friendly. Okay, so here.
So fix the content, don't change the URLs, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we actually, there's a couple things you can do.
Keep the content, that is, fix the site, and don't change URLs.
Yeah, so you have, it's a theme problem. All right, so here are the three things that you need to think about. So one is, content's a separate matter to some extent. You want to make sure that your content, for example, if you're like a photography website and all your images are 400,000 by 3,000, okay, you got a mobile issue anyway because your no screen's that large. I think that some of the Samsung phones are almost that big. Anyway, but you want to make sure you don't change any URLs as you do a theme redesign. So there's something I should point out to you. So one is, if you have any question about how we recommend doing a site migration, you should absolutely message support at Marketers Brain Trust, and point out that you want to do a site migration to a platform or a theme that is more mobile friendly, and go ahead and ask the lovely ladies in support, to escalate that to one of us, so that we know, one of the three of us, so we can answer your question. And there are a couple different ways we can engage with you. We could do we could actually just take a look at your site and tell you, yeah, you're good. We could do a very short term, like a 1 hour, just a consulting engagement. There's some freelance content we've done about that. We can offer you even a close to, not quite done for you service. So, but yes, what you want to, most importantly, whenever you're doing a site migration of any kind, changing theme, changing domains, whatever you're doing, you want to make sure you don't change any URLs unless absolutely necessary. That said, if you have a penalty or link cleanup problem, then there's good reasons to change URLs, but that's a whole other topic. You didn't ask that. And so, absolutely, if you've got that going on, before you do it, please, please, please contact us. I mean, the only thing, in terms of the ways to lose money on the internet, the top of the list is probably spamming, and second to that is changing your URL structure. Just saying. Okay. Dan, is there any? Did I miss any? I think that's it, right? I don't know. Anyway,
I would argue that an ad group overloaded with 800 keywords is an even better way to lose money, especially if you're not even testing ads in that group. But,
okay, granted, you're right. I was thinking
because you can do it really fast. I mean, you can crank that dial way up and really burn through the cache.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put that into category, then answering the email from the prince in Nigeria that says all you need is your bank routing information, that's actually tops both of them, all of them, right? I think. Okay, whatever.
Unless it turns out to be the one that's legit, then.
Which we haven't discovered that one. Let me know
if
you
can have some of Haile Selassie's money in your pocket tomorrow.
Is there an easy way to convert or a service be mobile, etc.? That's not syntactically correct, so I'm not sure what that means. Is there an easy way to convert or a service be mobile? We'll come back to that. Let's see, I mixed my time zones. Welcome to our world. Let's see, yes, we would all love the world will be fun.
Real quick while Leslie mumbles his way through the questions.
Thank you, Corey, for rescuing me.
I'll feel that gap. One of my sites was old school, straight HTML, and most of my traffic for that site actually comes from YouTube, and a lot of YouTube watching is done on mobile, and I just changed the landing page to mobile and watch my opt-in rate double. And the way they get their information is through email. So if they want to get the email's formatted for mobile. The main landing page is formatted for mobile now, and tablets and desktop, and it's a lot of video-based information, so it's going to be mobile-friendly as well. And the only reason why I really did it was I don't care about search. I just care is that the traffic that's actually coming to it, there's a large percentage coming from mobile, and I was shocked just how much the opt-in rate jumped. Same messaging and everything. A little different layout color-wise, but for the most part, it's now friendly on desktop, mobile, and tablet, when before it was really just a 2008 HTML page that was desktop friendly. And so people, if you give them access on the front end in the method or whatever they're coming to your site with, they don't necessarily have to buy from you right then and there. And talking to a lot of our clients, people are still kind of stuck in a one and done. They come to my site and they buy, and that's just not the case. People leave, they get busy, they're at work, they're on their phone, on the train or whatever. And I know for me, I've saved emails and gone back on my desktop later. So make your funnel definitely as user-friendly as possible on the front end for as many people as possible. That makes sense.
Yeah, one of the things kind of interesting, it's kind of funny because like a super old website. I've got one that's been online and it hasn't changed since 1998, and nobody knows it's there. But I put that through the mobile friendly test, and it passed with flying colors, no problem. Why? There's no JavaScript on the damn thing at all. There's no such thing as a cascading style sheet when I built it, and there's specifying which typeface and what size and all that stuff. No. There was P's, there was H1s, there was H2s, B's and I's. That's it, son. And so the funniest thing is the websites that are super old are actually perfectly okay, because all that old HTML stuff was already responsive, because you had it's just as bad as it was now, right? I mean, you had people on monitors that were 320 by 240, actual monitors, VGA monitors that small, and all the way
it's
up.
Just about the opposite of portable.
Yeah, I mean, I never put mine in my pocket, but I never weighed that much. Is that actually Patrick Gavin on our Hangout? Hey, Patrick, it's been forever. Patrick's got a question of where it's going to hurt. So yes, this is going to affect you on mobile in terms of ranking. Google isn't yet extending this to desktop search results, but it wouldn't surprise me if at some point they recognize that users are switching back and forth between devices, and that might actually matter to users. But the biggest thing right now is they're just trying to no longer show people a completely messed up, jarring, sucky experience, trying to go to a website that just ain't ever going to let you see the content that you want. They don't want to show that in search results because that makes users unhappy.
Well, I mean, you just look at universal analytics, right? I mean, they're trying to get to that whole notion of cross device, and so yeah, we're going there. What Google would like to do, you kind of look at it. So there's first is that they want the one, the single sign-on for the web through Google Plus. That's the first.
Right.
thing.
Well, by the way, they've got half of that with you on mobile, because on Android you're logged in, and all they got to do is just get you to use Chrome and be logged in all the time, and they can watch you between devices. Wouldn't that be fantastic world for advertisers to be in? And I'm not sure how the rest of you feel about it.
Yeah, I think what I'm thinking is a book where it says "Oh Ford." Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I'm not sure. I can't remember the name of that book. Anyway, so that's a test question for those of you listening. And so the point is, so they want this whole single sign-on. That's the reason the whole Google Plus even exists, because it has no other business value, frankly, except tracking your behavior. Then the second thing they've got this whole universal analytics thing, where advertisers such as us, right, can figure out what's your user ID and how we connect you between platforms. So you look at what's really, these are painting the way to the future in terms of tracking behavior across devices. And so, yeah, is it important for anybody, any business? I mean, that was one of the questions. I can't remember who asked it. To really be good on mobile. Yes, and it's not because right now it is too damn difficult to enter your 16-digit credit card number, your 4-digit expiry, plus your 3 or 4-digit secret code. Very few people do. I've never done it. Some of my, our private clients we talk to, a couple of them have done it. That's a level of.
If you've done it once, it doesn't mean you're going to want to do it again.
Oh, it's horrible. What a beatnik, right? So I'm having a hard enough time doing it on my desktop.
They'll do it if they're trapped somewhere and they can't get out, and they really need you to send them those Huggies by FedEx as fast as possible. But otherwise, no, they will not.
They're not doing it. But with things like Apple Pay and PayPal and some of those other payment gateways, that is the future. I mean, at some point, we really do. The phone itself has a biometric identification.
There's your payment method right there, and that's probably close enough to the camera for some damn hacker
to actually read your rules.
So.
Yeah, right.
Well, his doesn't have color, so you're safe.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. So now, Shira had asked. Shira is one of our clients, by the way. Would you use a specific exit pop or opt-in format for mobile users? I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, but let's talk about that. That's a good question.
Well, I mean, that's one of the areas where there's so much testing going on. I was Leslie, I sent you a link to the landing page that I want for our mobile campaigns for the lead gen, for the opt-in things, because let's there's like 1 million funnel trainings going on right now, and some of them are good and some of them suck. And I think the big problem is none of them are addressing how do I target the right people to get them into the funnel, right? But he was pretty early on in the test, but he was running. First time I checked in on it, he was running a 71% opt-in rate from Facebook traffic, and it was up to 83% on that variation. And so, yeah, I mean, there's differences. The main thing is with mobile in particular, you'd really like to, if you've got them logged into Facebook, then you want to go ahead and hammer them with that remarketing pixel, because that will follow them over to the desktop. Because Facebook has you logged in as the same person on both. That's, again, one of the many reasons why Google was afraid of Facebook enough to try and force Google Plus down all our throats, is that they recognized that Facebook had a strong strategic advantage in the ability to deliver advertising and remarketing in particular. But definitely, I mean, what you want is something that delivers a big promise quickly. Video seems to work really well as a way to back that up, but you don't need to autoplay it, because a lot of people are just going to mash the button to get it. Make the promise, tell them what they're going to get, and we should probably just do a session on mobile funnels one of these days pretty soon, yeah? I mean, maybe we get Michelle back, if she can show us any of the ones that she's been working on. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, so the general, as a general answer to Shira's question was to make sure that the damn pop actually fits, and it gets treated the same way. It's like, the mobile problem is not a new problem. It's just the cross-browser device problem. It's just that now, instead of like 2 or 3 different screen sizes, we have 20.
The biggest thing with mobile is you don't want to just take over the screen. What you want to do is bring it, and I haven't tested everything with everything, but if you bring in a button or a slider that says click here to get this, and they tap it, then you can open up a light box that takes over the full screen, and like you turn their phone into an email catching device. One of the things that I saw, and I've seen it a number of times, but I saw a really good application of it. There's a Mac app called Napkin, and I'm going to see if I can actually pull up their page here.
It was featured just the other day in iTunes.
Yeah, so the company is Aged and Distilled, and well, I can't show you what it looks like on a mobile device. It's aged-and-distilled.com, because, well, they really had to have that domain, and of course the non-hyphenated version. But so when you go to the website on your desktop, there's just a link to buy it on the Mac App Store, because it's a Mac app. When you go to it on an iPhone, or any other phone, by the way, what you get is this little button that says click. So remind me. By sending an email to get it when I'm on my Mac, and so all you do is tap, and it opens up an email. Actually, there was somebody I was talking to on Facebook about 3 weeks ago. I was trying to figure out how to get opt-ins, some complicated opt-in thing to work, and I said, well, have you considered just using a mail to action, right? Because what they wanted to get was name, email, and comments. Well, if you want name, email, and comments, right, then just have a mail to form where they tap a button and it opens up an email that's pre-populated, and that's what these guys are doing with Napkin. And so they still have to hit send on the email, but I can guarantee you that they're getting a lot of people doing that, because every time we've tested something like that, it's worked fantastic.
Well, there's also one thing to consider. Like Dan mentioned, Facebook Atlas goes cross everything based on where they're logged in with their Facebook account now, especially for advertisers. But the other thing is, with iPhones, there's a thing called handoff. And if you're on your computer and you have Bluetooth set up, I can have a tab open, and when I go into my phone, there's another tab for whatever the last kind of thing that I want to hand off to my phone is. So that works really nicely if you're looking up something and you got to run out the door, or you're going to step into the other room, or for any reason really, you can hand it off to your phone. And
yeah, and there's something similar with Android as well, with Chrome.
Yeah, so it's definitely a changing world in terms of they're not stuck to the one device they're on. Real quick regarding Shira's thing, you definitely want to be mindful of exit pops, especially if you're doing Facebook advertising. They don't like those, and you will get shut down most likely. So
A light box and something that has to be dismissed are two different things, right?
Yes.
yeah, well, an exit pop they say in their TOS, and so that's why.
Yeah. So if you're throwing up a JavaScript alert because I'm trying to leave your website, go die or something, or just change your ways.
Well, I mean, they work though. I mean, to be fair. I mean,
Okay, but I still hate you, Rudy. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's fine, but I like making money. Okay, so back at you. I mean, so the fact is, yes, Google and Facebook don't like them because they want all the money for themselves. All right, whatever. I mean, the fact is, the exit pops work. They continue to work. They always test to get more money. The fact that we can't use them
so just don't use it on Facebook.
Exactly. Just bear in mind that if you're going to put up something that's only available in organic search, damn it, use an exit pop 100% of the time. Hire if you can figure out how. No, exit pops work. I hate them too. Exit pops work.
Yep, and all I'm saying is if you're going to use Facebook advertising, be mindful of that funnel.
Exactly, I agree with you. You know, you want to like get your paid traffic, you know, shut off. So Facebook, Google, basically any paid traffic, they don't really like it. Well, things like Outbrain, they don't care. But you know, display, I mean, maybe not. But the fact is,
Actually, Outbrain and those guys are starting to get a few more rules all the time. But
they're cracking down a little, yeah.
Really? Yeah, good. You know, fine for them. So let's see. Walt asked a question. What's the deal with redirecting? Does this mean you can't build a mobile-specific site that has to be responsive only? Okay, so here's the thing. That's the MDOT question. Right. And so what you're doing is you're basically doing device detection. You say, I go to mysite.com, but I find out you're on a mobile device. I redirect you to m.mysite.com. That was never the best approach. Where
do you redirect Googlebot?
Exactly.
Because they ain't asking as a mobile device.
They're not asking as mobile device. I mean, there is actually kind of an Googlebot, but no, it's not. It's not.
Because they know that mobile redirects are a brittle solution that requires you to detect every case, and you ain't going to detect every case, and so they're not going to send you people.
And so what's really going on is with the whole MDOT solution, and I mean, you still find it. I mean, there's Twitter and MDOT Twitter. That's a transitional technique, right? What's really going to happen is that we're going to find that everybody is required to solve the 20+ display size aspect ratio problem. And we're not going to have this difference between Twitter and M.Dot Twitter. We're going to have my site and M.Dot my site. That's not going to be an effective strategy going forward. What will be effective is for very frequent users, an app will make sense. So QuickBooks has an app for both desktop and mobile, right? Facebook, obviously the web presence and an app. That's not for your casual user. That's only for your highest volume, highest valued users. That makes sense. Substantial investment to do it, by the way. But no, the whole M.Dot redirect, that is not a future-proof solution. So, here's what it is.
And the future is coming in 2 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's right. Future.
So, I think my flying car is already on the boat on its way to me. So
yeah, that's like if you get two, give me one to me. So anyway, send the doorway page update. So people keep asking about this doorway page update. I mean,
so what the practice is, and it's changed over the years, but it's still basically the same idea. What you do is you create bajillions of pages that are machine generated, and just throw keywords on them. Back like in 1998, 99, I got a site banned because we ran a script that just scraped the web and used Markov chaining to put together gibberish text, and then redirected people to the actual landing page that we wanted. And Google doesn't like that for some reason, and so what they're doing now is it's just another way of kind of grinding, trying to crank down the screws on people that have managed to get by their filters so far. But if you're not doing that kind of stuff, and we used to call it a keyword drift net, because it's just we throw this a drift net is something that's just throw this big 20-mile long net and drag it through the ocean and catch everything, and then pick out the fish that you wanted and throw the dolphin corpses away or whatever. It's the same thing. I mean, it's like email spam. It's just garbage that people try and stick into search results in order to hijack somebody to go somewhere else, and that's what it's about. It's not about you've got pages that are written about stuff that are handwritten that you're trying to help people. It's really about the guys that are doing massive numbers of Dory pages designed to target massive numbers of search results with no value added to it.
Yeah, it's not a new thing. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, unless I missed something. I mean, the last doorway page update.
Yeah, the rules haven't changed. It's just that they've
ago.
got some very large offenders that are skating by right now and won't be soon because they've built this new algorithm to catch them.
Oh,
And
okay.
Another example of that I still see people talking about is Seattle, marriage counseling, Renton marriage counseling, Tacoma marriage counseling, Everett marriage counseling, and it's the same page with just Everett and Seattle and Tacoma replaced. That doesn't add any value.
Yeah, the Panda kind of took care of those guys.
Most of it, yeah. I still see people talking about it, like, hey, I'm trying to rank for this city. This is the page. Oh my goodness, okay. Probably won't rank for that.
And there are some tricks to still do that, but you've got to be not as easy as a page. You're talking about a silo or a microsite. It's community focused. It actually does add value to the web. So, it's not that just that'll take me 5 minutes kind of a strategy that used to be.
There's a question that I'm sure a few other people are asking in the list here that's I know the answer to, but can we create just the home page to be mobile friendly and have a desktop version, or do we have to make every page mobile friendly?
Yeah, every page. Unless you'd like everybody to just bounce from your home page, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's sort of like, would you like to actually engage people on mobile so they'd come back later, remember your name, and type it into a browser? Or would you just like them to go to your home page and then be completely freaked out when they click any link? And how would you make a home page that was mobile friendly and the rest of your site sucks? It's like, I'm assuming you're using like a framework or a theme or something, which would
that's not mobile friendly.
It's not. More or less definitionally. It's not that a page is mobile friendly. Even on the worst sites, you might have an isolated page which doesn't look horrible on mobile. It's a site that's mobile friendly. And wow, you'd be surprised. Even some of the biggest brands in the world, they just suck on mobile. Unbelievably bad. And they try to like band-aid that by throwing up something at the top of the site like get our app. Like, no, I'm looking for a washer and dryer right now, Home Depot. I don't want to like download your app, which will take 47 minutes over the crappy connection I have.
Edge network.
And then go find out you don't have the dryer or what. That's a loss.
Not so much, no.
Yeah.
The other thing that we ran into back in the day when we were trying to go mobile, especially in the personal injury law space, everybody was trying to sell apps, and I was trying to convince my clients that was a bad idea, was the build out. The site might be responsive, but what's happening once somebody goes to it from a phone? Are the links crammed together? Are they hard to click? Is the text really small? Is the text hard to read? Like on our site, is the header chopped off? There were all these things that Google's going to look at that make it mobile friendly. Just because you install a responsive theme doesn't necessarily mean your site is actually usable without potentially some tweaks to various things. And that's something to think about. That I was, even back then, I think this was 2012, I was arguing with my dev guy about, it's responsive. Yeah, but it looks horrible. I can't click a link. that doesn't help the situation.
It responds, but it responds badly.
Yeah.
And there are some things you're not going to be able to fix, to be clear. So fixed width headers. So like on our website, the logo, okay, is going to stay. So you as you look at it on mobile, you're going to see things rearranged. And the news theme, the Genesis news theme, does a really good job of maintaining the integrity of the content. But certain things you just can't fix, unless you're doing some really wild ass hacks where you're checking the viewport size. And we've looked at this. And now, what do you do to the header? If you split the header up into different pieces, we've done that for some of our clients. For example, people who are lead gen. We have a couple of these where we've done this, where the header is split up into 2 or 3 pieces because the phone number, which is delivered by a call tracking solution, is in a piece by itself. And so when you collapse the viewport, what happens is it stacks it from horizontal, like it stacks it to vertical. So you get a logo and headline, maybe it's chopped off or whatever, but you still get the click to call, right? And then you get the content below it. At some level, you got to realize what's the best you can do with a screen that's looked like this for a website that's built for a monitor that looks like this. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to serve up the exact same everything. You can not link to stuff that's not mobile friendly, but it gets dicey. I mean, the fact is, I think that's something that's okay, maybe in the short term, but in the long run, there's no good answer to delivering a good mobile experience on something that isn't built for mobile. Right. I mean, you might have an app that, there's no mobile version of any of the tools we use to manage AdWords. There's no mobile version of analytics that doesn't break, right? I mean, Chrome or Android or whatever. But this isn't about perfect. This is about better. And that's the reason why it's on a page-by-page basis. So now, if you did have something, you might have had a content piece that was going to show up in a mobile search result, but it doesn't because that part of your site isn't mobile friendly. It's not going to show up in a mobile search result anymore. They'll just drop it from the results. That might hurt or it might not. I think the bigger thing that people have to think about with mobile, I think that the hoop Google's making us jump through right here is a relatively simple one to get through. I think it's the fact that what else is it costing you other than that. And as far as header graphics go, Leslie, if we could just get all the browser guys to support SVG, then everybody could do vector headers, and it'd be super cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Someday
there's
in
that.
the future.
Yeah.
That'll show up with my flying car, but
yeah, pretty much. With that little one that folds into a briefcase. Damn it!
But it's almost like a Godwin's law of our Hangouts. If somebody gets to talking about SVG, it's probably time to wrap it up. So let's see if we got any more good questions.
Oh, we have some great questions. So Greg asked, because Google is also, and we've got 100+ people on the call, so this is obviously a topic that everyone's interested in, which is good. Google has also started pushing the HTTPS website. How far away are we from being mandated by Google like this mobile directory? Well, bear in mind, this is not a mandate from Google. They're just telling you if you don't do it, you're going to lose money. And for
HTTPS, the only search results where that's going to affect you is stuff where they think that there's actually a potential security issue and showing an insecure result. Because, well, the insecure result is probably there because of one of their many redirect bugs that allows people to shove the wrong content into their index. But HTTPS is something that the whole web should be encrypted, but there's actually ways to do that over HTTP. Firefox is building in support for one of those methods. It ain't perfect, but I wouldn't be surprised if a couple years from now all of the web browser traffic is encrypted by default without everybody going to HTTPS.
I think about that. The details of that. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it's not perfect security, but it is, it is not sending everything around the web in plain text, right? Somebody has to actually try to intercept, and they have to do work to do it.
John said, so won't the mobile check only affect ranking in mobile, not desktop? Well, yes.
Yes.
But over half.
I mean, how much does that affect how humans respond to, and right? I mean, if you understand that the social graph has an influence whether or not they measure +1s or Facebook likes as a ranking signal, the social graph has influence, and most of the social graph activity happens on one of these. I mean, if you go in and break down like where do your shares of your stuff come from on Facebook. It's people sharing it on their phone a lot more than it is people doing it on their desktop. So it does cost you. It's just not a direct, like Google's not going to show your site because it's not mobile friendly. Well, you're on a desktop, they don't care yet. Well, at some point they will, because the world is cross-device and it does affect users.
Well, yeah, and in largely in ways that you can't measure. That's the other problem here. Is because there's not really. I mean, the moment there is a 100% effective biometric identifier on the web, I will stop touching all computers. Just saying. But so if I search for something and find something on my phone, and I happen to remember the domain name, like our good friend Jerry, who has a martial arts site, and yes, Jerry, in fact, you were one of our remain one of our great testimonials for the success of our techniques. I mean, you did the work. I mean, so it's hat tip to you. But the fact is, if I find your site, and then because I don't want to type in 16 digits of my credit card number, but I remember how to find you online, right? So I remember some portion of your domain name, like Knights or Bushido or whatever, and I type that into a browser, and because Google is really good at navigational queries, and there's a really wide net on what constitutes navigational, I find your site, and then you look like, oh man, my branded search is awesome. But wait, what none of us is able to track is the fact that the reason I found out about you, because I was sitting with probably Phil Weaver, would be the person that I may have, and he told me about your website, and I put it in my phone and said, wow, yeah, cool. Oh yeah, that's Jerry, right? Right. See, that chain of events is untrackable by any technology that any of us wants to have, let alone is available today. That's what's happening now, and we have 50 or 60% of all search is on mobile. So, think about that. What if, let's say mobile didn't exist, and what instead happened was 50 or 60% of all search was untrackable. Oh, well, it kind of already did happen because of the keyword hiding. But, see, that's the problem we have. So we don't really know how people find us. That's the challenge here. And so you can't say, well, I'm not getting traffic from mobile. You don't know if you're getting traffic from mobile. Not really. I mean, if you are, you don't know what it's worth, because we don't have good cross-device tracking, right? Dan? I'm done with my rant. Sorry.
Well,
that
you
one.
Don't have
There's another one.
Good cross-device tracking, but there is some cross-device tracking that goes on within different channels. I mean, one of the reasons why Facebook is an awesome channel is because of the fact that we can remarket to people and reach them across multiple devices. And nobody talks about how awesome that is because we've just kind of gotten used to it being that awesome, or we're not aware that it's that awesome and we're not even taking advantage of it. But there are certain things that just aren't ever going to get better, right? There's certain things you and Phil aren't going to have to wear tinfoil hats to keep the satellite from picking up your conversation, right?
Yeah.
There's not going to be a thing in Google Analytics that said, satellite says your friend told you about it. Which one it is. And well, he heard about it from Facebook, from Sally, who heard about it on Twitter, and right. So I mean,
yeah,
there's always going to be limits to our comprehension here, but the fact is, the cases that we have, it's not a split test, it's a serial test, right? The chap we were talking with earlier that sells the shoes that aren't shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see in their analytics almost a doubling of conversion rate between the old version of their website and the new version of their website. The main difference, as far as I can tell, it's kind of prettier on the desktop, but the main difference is that now they're actually mobile friendly.
Yeah, they're very responsive. Yeah, it's a very good layout
And
for that. Yeah, absolutely.
and I've never seen somebody go to something where it adds in a responsive mobile thing and their conversion rate for the site doesn't go up, and it doesn't necessarily go up a whole bunch on mobile. Like I said before, so it'll affect your conversion rate on the desktop that you're better on mobile. Because what do I do when I find something I want to buy on mobile? I email it to myself from my phone, and then I go buy it on my desktop where I'm.
Which looks like direct. See, that's the thing. It's like, so
Yep.
we have all this direct traffic, which is not really direct. It's just untrackable, whatever, search referral, whatever.
It's just mystery traffic.
Mystery traffic.
They
Terry
came
asked,
from somewhere, but you don't know where, and it sure as heck isn't all bookmarks.
yeah, and that's the thing. So
Bookmarks from people that have cleared their cookies since they bookmarked you.
Yeah, it's like
Otherwise, there'd be some
bookmarks.
source there that it would be passed.
I thought Evernote replaced bookmarks, but Terry asked a really good question, and so this is really actionable. It's like, okay, so I want to be mobile friendly. What do I do? Okay, and Terry says and then this is good, by the way. I'm using this mobile update as the time to completely update my site from 2006. So good, it's probably time. And that it uses a PHP, and half the site is dynamic to boot. So I'm moving to WordPress. Am I in deep trouble? No, you're doing exactly the right thing. Witness Genesis and the news thing. So the Genesis framework out of the box is responsive. Almost all, with a very few exceptions, are for special purpose, like artists and photographers and shit. Almost all of those child themes are very mobile responsive. You look at our website. There are a couple things that we will change at some point, but hey, it passes the test.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't actually look quite as bad as that image rendering from Google's tool, but right? It's not great, and there's room to improve it for sure. But the main thing is, for us, is can they see the most recent article and can they read it? And yes, they can. For us, it's not as effective as it could be in a marketing perspective, right? On a desktop, we've got all kinds of cool things we rotate in on the mobile. We're really not doing much to try and capture you as a lead, for example. But to me, the most important thing is on mobile is can they read it, and if they decide they want to share it, well, great, because Facebook is already built into their phone. All they have to do is push the little arrow and share it, and they share it, and we see that happen all the time from our site. We get organic sharing and stuff like that on Facebook a lot.
Yeah, and Dan, that brings up and I think that's the most important thing, is I don't think that we're, with respect to our particular site, and everyone's going to be different about what their most felt need is. On our particular site, with respect to the mobile experience, we're not really surfacing the sharing experience as much, and that's one of the things that people are doing something very different on desktop and mobile typically. And so on mobile, what we really like is can I mail that to myself or to a friend, and can I share it? And those are because obviously entering a credit card number is too much of a pain in the ass. And so what's my real most wanted response on a mobile device? It's probably the viral nature, because there are people sitting around.
Take some qualifying action, like click a link to download a PDF, and now I've got you in a remarketing audience. Things like that.
And that's the thing.
You don't actually need their email address to keep talking to them anymore. It's nice to have, but it's not. You don't have to make it mandatory anymore.
You don't
First
have
step is getting them into an audience, and then from that audience, then you've got multiple opportunities to convince them that they want to give you not just an email address, but stick their thumb on their phone and buy something from you.
So Kurt asked, what about .NET Nuke? Well, so the first of all,
we have such long history with .NET Nuke that I'm going to go ahead and mute myself.
Yeah, go ahead and do that, Dan. And so while I try to choose my words carefully. So if you're on a Windows platform, you're what is the English word for that? Anyway, so yeah, just don't do that. Nancy Reagan said it best. Just say no. It's not just the only. That's not the only platform like that.
Can't I just use Windows on the weekends, Leslie?
Why would you
all
want to
better
do
by Monday?
Why would you want to do that on your day off? I don't get that. That's supposed to be a day of recreation, not.
Well, they told me it was dangerous to huff glue.
Yeah, well, there's that, and so pretty much the same with Windows. It's yes, I understand that some people are tied to .NET Nuke. Just don't do that. I just say no. The fact of the matter is, move on to a platform that actually has, much wider support, is much more standards compliant. Things like, for example, where they don't think that upper and lowercase are the same, which none of the rest of the world thinks, and including search engines. So yeah, you're in a backwater where you're not going to get the support you need in order to actually continue on within like the quote unquote modern day. So I know that's a little bigoted, but the fact of the matter is, you're playing in too small a pond to actually play. Wall did a follow-up.
So Patrick had a quick follow-up there. So if you get caught up in this update, what do you have to do when you fix the site? You really don't have to do anything when you fix the site. And as I understand it, this is going to be something that updates pretty quickly because it's something that's accomplished in the crawling process. So I would not expect, if you get whammied on April 21st and you fix it on the 22nd, I would think a week or two at the most. And I mean, that's how fast the mobile friendly tag shows up on sites that we've worked on to get them to pass the test to have the mobile friendly tag, which, like this whole update is about being able to remove that, right? Because they'll all be mobile friendly. But it was like 4 or 5 days, and the mobile friendly tag was on there. So I mean, it's basically at the speed that they crawl. I think it's updated very fast. So
Walt also replied with a follow-up. He said, "I get it that MDOT isn't a good idea, but I don't necessarily want to show the same stuff on all devices." Well, you don't. I think you want to show the same stuff, just not the same way, and that's the tension, around MDOT. Sorry, there are 3 levels. There's app, MDOT, and responsive theme. Those are the 3 choices. And so if you truly have a really, really big case, so for example, Kayak, right? So Kayak has a mobile responsive site.
Look, you can have an MDOT if you're going to let Google crawl and index the MDOT. But if you have a non-mobile friendly other site, that thing ain't going to do you a damn bit of good with mobile devices. It's really that simple. It's not a crime to use an MDOT domain or a mobile dot or whatever, but they're not going to send you people to redirect, okay? That's the problem. So your non-mobile site was getting traffic before, and you could redirect to MDOT, and you're delivering a good experience. Now, your non-mobile site isn't going to be in that search result on people's phones, so you won't have to worry about redirecting anymore. So yes, can you let them crawl and spider your mobile site, and can that show up in search results? Yes, but that's the only way that you're going to get that traffic.
Yeah, and now you have 2 sites to maintain. I think MDOT was always a bad idea. I just never liked it. I mean, if you're going to do MDOT,
I accept that it could be a necessary evil in some cases, but that's what you're dealing with. Is you've got to accept that a lot of the traffic that was coming in is going to get chopped off, and so your hosting bill should be cheaper because you won't be using as many compute cycles to redirect people. So cost savings there.
Bobby asked, and this is about pictures specifically. How do you get pictures to resize? Is some kind of JavaScript, or should I go with one of the paid themes which take care of this? Actually, I think there are several different approaches.
Well, all the paid themes use jQuery to do it, or you can just do it with jQuery yourself.
Yeah, because the whole viewport, resizing thing. That's ultimate. The underlying technology is that JavaScript detects the viewport size.
And people have built libraries of functions to make it easy to do. Otherwise, we'd all still be just as Stone Age as we ever were.
Yeah, and so just push that down to your geek team and be done with that. When you get in that call, paid by paid, no, it's really kind of sort of, it's site-wide.
Don's asked his question twice. I think Dan pretty much covered it in his last answer just a couple minutes ago, which was, how do you get Google to recognize it as mobile friendly in Webmaster Tools once you've made it mobile friendly? And
they'll recognize it. They're crawling you all the time.
Oh, and Suzette wants to know .mobi. Yeah, I don't know what the whole thing about all these ridiculous top-level domains is. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and send a letter.
What's the point?
I mean, it's seriously, I'm just going to go ahead and get a .Leslie, right? I mean, crap.
That probably would have seemed like a good idea in 2006, right?
I don't know. I just don't get it.
Now it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I mean,
Well, you can spam lawyers and sell them .lawyer and .attorney, and maybe there's a .law firm now. I don't know.
I don't know. The short answer is that yeah, no. Mobile responsive, yes, that's what we're saying, is mobile responsive where we want to go. And here's a couple of reasons. So first of all, I'm going to build remarketing audiences and a brand and blah, 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 and I'm going to do that with a whole bunch of different top-level domains that look kind of similar. Really? No, I'm not going to do that. Why would I want marketersbraintrust.mobi or m.marketersbraintrust.com or hell, maybe m.marketersbraintrust.mobi?
M.mobi would be good.
M.mobi. Wow. Anyway, that's probably taken. But anyway, the point is, why would I want that when I'm trying to build a brand on marketersbraintrust.com, build a remarketing audience there, so I can follow those people every time they touch my site? So it just doesn't make any sense.
I tried to get wiki.wiki, but
that was not available?
No, it was already taken.
Maybe wiki-wiki-wiki.wiki.
I just wanted wiki.
Wiki. Okay, that sounds really weird. There are lots of free responsive themes, that's true. Mobile also includes tablets, which a lot of people don't understand. That's true. You got to be careful about that. Breadcrumbs. What? I noticed that sometimes Google asks you to remove breadcrumbs. You got a message from Google to ask you to remove breadcrumbs. Really?
Well, it's the issue isn't about breadcrumbs. It's about are the tap targets usable? Because that's one of the things they try and look at. So, right, if you've got little bitty tiny links that nobody can't actually touch and use, then that's not mobile friendly. It's basically the same issue as tiny type. So you got to think about the tap targets, right? So you can't have a little tiny menu with 9,000 different things that are like an 1/18 of a finger apart, right? Fingers are as fat as they are. The beauty of iOS was that they figured out a way to actually make something that was incredibly usable, that didn't require you to use a stylus or a pointer, and now all the phones are like that. And so yeah, if you need them to be able to whip out a stylus to use your website on mobile, that's not mobile friendly. Palm Pilots are no longer the target platform.
Yeah, and by the way, so we were just talking about top-level domains, and Philip raised a good point, and so to be clear here, yeah, tap targets, that's correct. Top-level domains are important if you want to geo-target other countries. Yes, but .mobi is not a country. And so .lawyer is not a country. .me is not a country.
There should be a .lawyer country.
I'm thinking more planet. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
Well, until we can get them onto the BARC, we can give them their own country.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Yes. And by the way, we should do that. One of our we'll figure out in our editorial calendar where we do that, because there is a best practice that very few people actually use for doing multi-country domains. And whether or not it really uses country-specific top-level domains, I think is highly arguable. And so I can show you the two different ways that you could do that. And what I consider, at least, from working with clients that have done it, is what the best practice is. I maintain, and I'll just tease this one, throw that one out here, is I maintain that country-specific TLDs is, in general, assuming you have more than two that you want to target, is not the best way. Now, if it's only two, .Pluto, that's great, Apple. It's perfect. That's exactly the right distance, and it's not actually a planet anymore. But if you only have two, if you want to say I don't know, France and Germany, okay, great. Then do two top-level domains. There's still some special things you have to do there, unless you want to really have doubled the costs of doing content for those two businesses. However, if you want to do more than two, I believe that your .com and certain approaches, it's a little bit complicated, to doing geo-targeting is the right solution. I don't think that multiple top-level domains is necessarily the right thing to do. That said, if I could afford it, I would go buy the top-level domains, and I would redirect them in exactly the right way to my .com, so they ended up on the page with the right language showing. So that's a little bit involved there, but the country top-level domains make sense. All this other ridiculous stuff, I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, it's worse than triple dub. Right? So I'm just saying. That's just me. So. Send me an email because that might. Oh,
that was Dan's response.
Sorry, I was reading Dan's email. I was like, wait, that looks like someone. According to my stats, about 75% to my existing stacks are via tablet. Wow. Okay, so Gary has like 75% of his visitors are from tablet. Should I redesign a layout specifically for tablet, except that the responsive layout for a phone would be less than perfect? I mean,
well, if 75% of the visitors are on that platform, I would say that's probably the most important experience to design for. But
use a framework that's going to downsize appropriately the tablet. I mean, it's a phone. Yeah.
The thing with a tablet is you got to recognize that more often than not, the phone is being held in portrait.
Well, the tablet's not.
The tablet is quite often in landscape or in portrait, and you really want it to work either way. So I mean, responsive was developed for a reason, and all the tech that supports it was developed for a reason, and that's because of the fact that you never do that. You never do this to your computer, right? But you do that with your tablet all the time.
Wow, that was really weird.
I just did it. That was just a demonstration.
Yeah,
there are platforms that at least the first one I saw, and I can't remember what it's called. It came out probably 2012, where it was the first one I saw where you could start at the bottom, say mobile, and design it specifically for mobile, and then the next size up, you could do the layout how you want it to look. So if you wanted to include the full header, if you wanted to only include the logo, etc., and you could build your way out, which would take a lot of work to do. But I thought it was a really interesting method to try to make it more perfect for mobile and tablet and desktop. I'm sure it's more work than most people want to do, but it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I just don't know that it's necessary today. I mean, there's so many ways to just build responsive from the get-go. I mean, we're working on one right now for a client.
Well, this was responsive. It was just you could choose the layout.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about building kind of like from the bottom up as opposed to the top down, right? So you're going to go full screen and then go down to small screen to go from small screen to big screen. I don't know. The way the kind of the standard algorithm to go responsive, and we'll get permission to show this person's website at some point. On Hangout, we'll go through this, what responsive looks like. But I mean, typically, what you do is you have like some sort of columnar approach, and so as you shrink the width, then the columns end up in line, and so you still.
Yeah, the grid is based on percentages, like thirds, right?
Yep.
Instead of fixed widths. And I mean, by the way, Leslie, one of the things that you emphasized, like way back in 2009 when we were starting this company, with our website was I was doing all kinds of design worst practices, like pixel heights and stuff like that, and you were insisting that everything be converted into percentages and all that stuff, and it's like, well, why are we doing that? So you said accessibility. Right, and our website's going to be accessible. It wasn't even an option for me to do all the cool design hacks that I knew how to do that were bad. So that helps us now, though, because we design for accessibility, and that actually is a big part of getting to a mobile-friendly layout. Is that you look at things as a percentage and not as an absolute number.
Yeah, I mean, there's really only. I mean, if you're ever using, there are exceptions to this rule. But if you're using things which are PX, in your CSS or whatever, so if you're using pixels, you're probably going down the wrong path. Instead, it ought to be either percentage or EM. Those are the ones which are going to do the right thing as a person who's either has really old eyes and can't see worth shit and is doing like Command plus 7 times in order to read your text, or is on a different device. So percentage and EM good. PX, almost always bad. But it's the default. And that's the thing. When I say font size equal 14, that defaults to PX. It's 14 pixels, which is about, I don't know, 11 points. You know, if I say my header is 22 PX, that means that's fixed. I mean, you know, no matter what I do, okay, that's what it is. Well, actually, that's not true. When you actually do Command plus in the browser, it does change because the browsers are smarter than the designers, which is really a sad statement about designers, by the way. But anyway, moving on. But if I say instead that no, my header is 1.25 EM, what that says is it's 25% larger than my body copy. See, now as I do, you know, Command plus, Command minus, whatever on my browser, everything sizes accordingly. Everything sizes the right way so that my layout still looks the way my designer said it should look. Those are really important things to consider when you go to mobile as well. It's not just that your responsive theme takes columns and turns them into, you know, the linear stripes. They also make sure that your typography doesn't get completely screwed up. And so, you know, a lot of this is about it's just about really understanding what style sheets even mean, how to use modern HTML. If you're still doing HTML2, it's almost impossible something that's going to be really responsive. So there was another rant. Wow, that's like 3 in one. Hang on. I'm about at average, right? Just saying. Anyway. Okay. It looks like we've exhausted our questions. I've certainly exhausted myself. And so, what are any closing comments before we call this one a day?
There's some pretty cool Facebook stuff targeting-wise.
Yeah, mention that.
Address. You can now target some people. It's not rolled out site-wide or Ads Manager-wide, but you can target address now. So you can put in a specific address, not just a zip code.
You mean an entire address? I mean, like you show an ad directly at me.
Based on your address.
If Facebook has your address, or depending on if it uses a partner category, right? The data is getting, the loop is getting closed between who's who and where they are and which one you are and all that kind of stuff. So, and we can already use email addresses and phone numbers to make custom audiences, but being able to use addresses is sweet because I might not know who's there now. Maybe I just want to bother whoever lives there now, like a ghost haunting a house.
Well, can we do zip codes?
Well,
yeah, you can do zip codes. This is even more targeted.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you know, combining that with what Ben Morris, has done for us. I mean, but there's some interesting things that can be done.
Yeah, well, you can actually just target all the homes that are over 6,000 square feet by address now, I guess.
It could be, yeah, maybe. So, all right, well, maybe that's an interesting topic for a future hangout. And who knows, right? So, detailed scary targeting. We call it the scary targeting hangout. But yeah. So, all right, very good. So if there's no great, I think we've done well done in getting this put together this week. Thank you, Bobby. We really appreciate that. Fourth time is a charm, as it turns out. I swear to God, I hope that we have found all of the latent bugs. Media queries. Yeah, you're right, Philip. You can use in CSS you can do media, which will differentiate between like print and different viewport sizes, different kinds of devices. So yes, that's another way you can do that. Adjust your CSS.
You can prevent showing links to stuff that you didn't want to show, for example.
Yes, or one of my pet peeves is the fact that web pages routinely don't print well. In fact, there's surprising things, but yeah. So when you go print the page, it only prints the viewport. It doesn't print the whole page.
There was actually a WordPress news theme somebody was selling a couple of years ago, and that was their big selling point, was that ours is printable.
There's so many that are not.
I don't understand that either, because the fact is it should be. I don't want to get down into XSL style sheets and transforms, but it should be a very easy thing for every website to have a print-friendly version that just rides along with the theme. It's just nobody cares about it.
Yeah, I just wish the browser did it correctly, but that's another story. Okay, so anyway, thanks guys. I really appreciate that everyone showed up. More than 100 people, and that's fantastic. That that many people actually had the patience to show up like 4 times in a row to actually see us on.
Yeah, I feel like Walt. We got him with the okey doke like every single time because he's been like the first one logged in every single time right before you crashed the Hangout by logging in.
Yeah, there's that, and so yeah, Walt gets the award for the most patient of us, right? So, but anyway, thanks everybody, and we will, as it turns out, now that we've got this like dialed in, we will see you next week
with a different topic.
A different topic, but the same technology, thankfully.
Same time.
Yes, same
time. You
time.
mean we're not gonna try to upgrade to Webinar Jam Studio and break everything between now and then?
We might
do that at another time besides right before the Hangout. Yeah.
Maybe sometime during the week you and I'll test that just as we did this one. So wait a minute, you guys are just hanging out, sharing information, nothing to sell. John said, "Well, yeah, not this time."
If you want to buy something, you can email us. I mean, we might try and sell you something at a different time.
Yeah, and so yes.
We'd love to sell you something. Just email us and say what do you want to sell me, and then we'll talk to you about your business and figure out what we should sell you.
Yes, and that's true. That is what we do, by the way. But yes, no. So don't get, sometimes we actually
nobody read Ian's comment, please.
Quick question. Oh my gosh, yeah, thanks, Ian. Quick answer to a question that was probably asked at the beginning. YouTube.com/marketersbraintrust is where the replay will be, but it's not going to be as fast as before, right, Leslie? Because we have to upload it.
It won't be automatic because we're actually logged in as Leslie's uncle or something like that. I don't even know. Like, we had to find somebody that had a virgin Gmail account that had never been connected to Google+. So.
I had created that in October.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Leslie.uncle at Gmail.
Yeah. So no, so there's a manual process. Yeah, so that normally you would expect on a Hangout that it would be automatically just appear on YouTube, and so this one will magically appear on YouTube, but magically appear at a place you will not be able to.
It'll be one of those technologies that is distinguishable from magic because it won't be instant.
Yeah, and so now I have to download it and upload it to the right place. So it's a PITA for everyone knows what that expands to, but it's at least, hey, it's better than all of the alternatives. And please, God, help Google. Let's all pray for Google that they actually.
Let's just have a moment of silence for PhD engineers because they should have hired some Bachelor of Science engineers.
Apparently, at least one internet marketer that had a profile and a page.
Think of the use cases. Two use cases are beneath me. I'm a PhD, I guess. I don't know. It seems like it would be the dominant use case for somebody with a business account to be doing a Hangout, but I guess not.
I guess not. They only thought that people...
It's like you would want to do this with your mom and post that to YouTube.
Yes. With an infinite number of attendees. But anyway. Okay, so it's like, makes total sense. Not. Very good. So I think we're done. So thanks everybody for showing up, and we will see you next week.
Next week.
And there will be yet another Hangout. That will be 2 in a row. Oh my God.
2.
The Brain Trust Hangout. Marketer's Brain Trust. Leslie Rohde, Corey Burke, and Dan Thies. And hopefully Michelle will be joining us next week as well. So thanks everybody. Take care.